Stay tuned to see how we removed and replaced this old, worn-out section of fence to end up with something like this. Day one started with what felt like loading up my entire garage and heading over to a buddy's house. Here, hold what you got right there. Just hold it? Yeah, just hold it. We get started by demoing the old section of fence that we're going to be replacing. Anyone with dogs or kids, please listen up. They make these things, I don't know if you want to feel with it. I guess we can just see how this removal goes. But they make these things that are basically like magnets that you roll across the ground. Oh. Which roofers use. When they go and take old roofs off, they're slinging nails everywhere, and then they come and roll these magnets around, and it collects all the old nails. Okay. It turns out we were able to safely remove this portion of the fence and panels, and we didn't leave any nails behind in the process. All that's left is the post to remove, and I thought I had a clever solution after watching about 100 YouTube videos. The general idea is to attach a block to the side of the post and use a car jack to lift the post out of the ground. And as you'll see, I ran into a lot of issues with this. Not long after starting with the car jack, the block begins to separate from the post before the post begins to leave the ground. It's not going anywhere, is it? It's at this point my buddy begins with the shovel, while I try again with some larger screws. Did they not even put concrete in that one? Barely. After a brief pause to ridicule whoever built this before us, it's time for attempt number 2. As you're about to see, attempt number 2 doesn't turn out much better than attempt number 1. I'm not sure what's clicking, but I'm about to lose this game of chicken. Nope, that ain't it. Let's stop this before we break something. Fortunately, the whole time I've been working with this, my buddy got started with the shovel on the other post. And just like that, they're all gone. All jokes aside, I think that method would have worked if I had a larger jack. I guess you could say in this instance, size matters. So the section of fence that we're replacing requires 4 new posts. And we're doing this properly, so the holes for the post should be 3 times the size of your post. So for a 4x4, you want a 12-inch in diameter hole. You also want to dig down 1/3 to 1/2 the height of your fence. And for a 6-foot fence that we're building here, that means 2 to 3 feet. We opted to use 4x6 posts for the 2 posts that will hold the gates. Which you know that means an even bigger hole and more time on the post hole digger. Anyone looking for a killer shoulder workout, I recommend getting a post hole digger and get after it. You won't be able to brush your teeth right for a week. After digging for what felt like forever, we finally have our new holes ready for our new posts. Next up, it's time to set our new posts. So we'll start by tamping the dirt with one of our new posts. We'll follow this up with a couple inches of drain rock at the bottom. This should help keep water away from the bottom of the post, ensuring the maximum life possible. From there, we're on to setting our new posts in concrete, and we chose a fast-setting concrete mix from Quickrete. This mix does not require pre-mixing, so we're able to pour the bag in dry, then add a gallon of water per bag. Because this is fast-setting mix, we also do not need to apply stakes to each post to hold them plumb. We started by setting both our end posts first, and then we're going to run a string line between those two so that our middle two posts also fall in line.
Alright, we need to go over the top rope.
And out comes the real boss to check on our progress, followed by her mini-me. With inspections passed, it's time for more concrete. And just like that, we're on to our final post of the day. I got it. You want to get your gloves? You don't get your gloves?
Yep.
And that right there started my first t-shirt idea. Friends don't let friends get splinters. This is what you call on the money, ladies and gentlemen, and that concludes our work for day one. Day two starts with a quick setup, and I'll begin by cutting the posts to their final height while my buddy moves the piles of dirt from yesterday. I'm using a 2x4 that will eventually become a fence rail as a way to extend my level for marking the posts. In order to make the cuts on our posts, I'm starting with a first pass with my circular saw and then following that up with a pass with the reciprocating saw to cut all the way through. From there, we're on to measuring, cutting, and installing our fence rails that will be used for our pickets to attach to. With a good head start on the fence rails, it's time to start assembling our gate. Step one here is mounting the hinges to the posts. Step two is I go ahead and assemble the outside stile of our gate. By hanging the outside stiles first, I can take a measurement between the two, subtract a ½ inch for my center gap, and divide by 2 to find my rail length. This should all become clear as you watch the assembly process. With the gate frame complete, I'll get my buddy started on fence pickets and I'll get back on the fence rails. We're using a spare 2x4 as a top guide and a 4-inch spacer block between the fence pickets. I know I said the gate frame was complete, but since we've over-engineered everything else, why stop now with the fence gate? I decided to add a diagonal brace for one final support to keep this from sagging ever. From here, we're simply alternating from front and back, ensuring we get our spacing correct as we add fence pickets. With the pickets added to our gates, now we can install the latch to keep this secure. That's what you want there. Now you got a gate with a latch on it that swings. Then we continue on with the pickets for the rest of the fence. As you can see, we are screwing each fence picket with 6 stainless steel screws. We're well aware this isn't the fastest method, but it is the one that will last the longest. That wraps up the build and this project. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe for more content.